my great pleasure to welcome you as President of the Royal United Services Institute, New South Wales. Thank you so much for your attendance, and very briefly but very significantly, I'd like to acknowledge the very significant range of people and so on who we have with us today. I'd like to pay our respects to the elders, past and present, and in particular we'd like to acknowledge those people who served, have served or will serve as First Nations people in our armed services. And on behalf of us all, I'd like to recognise and thank their service and their contribution. It's my great pleasure now to thank our patron, the Governor of New South Wales, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, and could I thank her firstly for her patronage and secondly for giving time for her being here to open the seminar. We thank you indeed, and could I invite you please to formally open the proceedings. Thank you.
With the important people in the room having been acknowledged, may I acknowledge all the important people in the room in the language of the Gadigal, Iora Budjeri, good people. It's a beautiful phrase, it's a very encompassing phrase, and when we were in Broken Hill last week, I used it, and the Barkindji elder who was with us said, "I just love that," and he went searching for the phrase in Barkindji so that he could also greet everyone with that phrase. It is all encompassing, so Iora Budjeri, everybody. And I thank you for the opportunity of giving a short address, which, not of its nature, must be at a very high level, not only because it's an introduction, but you are the experts. I'm the lawyer, and I'm the civilian, although I have honorary positions within the three services. I do have to say that when AUKUS was announced, if that's the right word, last year, in last September, it took me at least to the second edition of the paper, and I think probably a little more, before I realised that there were no submarines. I thought this was our new submarine contract. I suspect that I would not have been the only one at that time. But the announcement last September of the AUKUS partnership was for that very reason historic, because for most people, it was unexpected, and it certainly drew considerable international attention, to say nothing of debate. We spent some time on official business in France earlier this year, and the response to us was, after we'd paid the compensation, that is, "We can talk to you now." So that was the effect at the time, and Mr. Macron is still having some issues about it apparently, but not about the amount of the compensation. But the significance of that agreement for Australia, with its very explicit focus on promoting security and prosperity in our immediate region and the Indo-Pacific, and the profound strategic shifts, really was a statement about not only where we are at the moment in the region, but where we must be in the future. Of equal significance, however, is the grounding of that agreement in the collaborative sharing of technology, a transformative articulation of Australia's relations with the United Kingdom and the United States, who are, of course, our oldest and largest allies respectively. In the words of Sir Stephen Lovegrave, the National Security Advisor to the United Kingdom, AUKUS represents, and I quote, "perhaps the most significant capability collaboration in the world anywhere, not now, but in the past 6 decades." And despite much of the focus of media attention, it is a collaboration, of course, far beyond the acquisition of submarines. It's undoubted that, as a general statement, one can say that change is the new paradigm. Navigating this new normal is one of the greatest challenges of our time, and it brings with it complexities not previously encountered in terms of the speed of change, a rapidly developing and often changing geopolitical outlook, economic implications and technological innovations of both a peaceful and warlike nature. I mean, just before I came out, I read in the newspaper that Iran is not only supplying drones to Russia, but is now teaching them the technology. So it changes almost day by day. And of course, complex problems require complex solutions. The AUKUS agreement is best seen in this light as a reflection of accelerating complexity in our strategic environment and as a component in an entire package of responses addressing those changes. In terms of specific challenges driving the strategic complexity of our region, which has been characterised as the most consequential strategic realignment since World War II, the Australian Government's 2020 Strategic Defence Update points, amongst other things, to the interrelated challenges of, and interestingly the first one is the economic and strategic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, the implications that's had. Climate change has come into it, and we speak on a daily basis of natural disasters. So that's one of the challenges. The next, challenges to the stability of the rules-based global order, particularly through the grey zone activities, and the pace of military modernisation and emergent disruptive technologies, which can have, potentially, the effect of diminishing Australia's technological edge. That will all impact on our future defence strategy. Many of these drivers were noted in the 2016 Defence White Paper. However, some have accelerated in ways that were not anticipated in 2016, and I think it was by 2018 that was realised and made, probably realised before 2018, but was certainly a statement made at that time. I seem to recall Maurice Payne making comments to that effect very soon after the 2016 paper came out. And so as such, and alarmingly, this has compressed the previously assumed 10-year strategic warning time down to 5. In short, it's been recognised that the pace of change required a change of pace in preparedness. The planning response to these challenges is articulated through 3 broad strategic aims. You will be familiar with them: to shape Australia's strategic environment, to deter actions against Australia's interests, and to respond with credible force if required. And the key mechanisms for these include an emphasis on the immediate region as our geographic focus, both operationally and through defence regional diplomacy and cooperation, and the humanitarian operations which are involved in that are probably at the front. Increased self-reliance for delivering deterrent effects, expanded and enhanced capabilities, and an increased capacity, both in Australia and the region, to support civilian authorities in the face of natural disasters, which loops back to the first. AUKUS, in the broader sense to which I've referred, forms part of that strategy. The extent to which it is integral to that strategy calls for clear understanding not only of policy objectives, but also of its place in Australia's accelerated sovereign capabilities. This raises a number of questions which are undoubtedly at the forefront of your thinking on these issues, but will include: what transformations are required to best support the AUKUS strategy, and what are the broader ramifications and opportunities for our economic development and our security? Given the attention at the time of the announcement on Australia's relationship with France, and more particularly that angst to which I've already referred that was caused by terminating the submarine contract with the French company Naval, little informed media attention has been given to the long-term strategic focus of AUKUS as an embedded component of Australia's engagement with our immediate region. In their joint media statement on the 16th of September 2021, the Prime Minister, the Minister for Defence and the Minister for Foreign Affairs stated, AUKUS will complement Australia's network of strategic partnerships, including with our ASEAN friends, our Pacific family, our Five Eyes partners, the Quad, and other like-minded partners. It's very interesting the way the word partnerships keeps coming through this, through the public statements. And this strategic direction was also confirmed by the present government when Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Senator Penny Wong, said in Singapore most recently, "We believe that Australia must find its security in Asia, not from Asia. And that means, above all," and she identified Southeast Asia. The basis of that security, as every official defence paper states and every informed commentary acknowledges, is through respect for sovereignty and rules-based collaboration. Having said that, and as is well understood by everybody in this room today, it is the advanced capabilities pillar that will have impact in the immediate and medium-term future and which will address the compressed strategic warning time highlighted in the 2020 Defence Strategic Update. Not 10 years, but 5. The advanced capabilities pillar initially focused on 4 areas: cyber capabilities, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, and additional undersea capabilities, which is very significant, as I'm sure Jonathan Early may mention. But again, it didn't take long for that to change and has now since expanded into to include hypersonic and counter-hypersonic capabilities, electronic warfare, innovation and information sharing. The fact that there has been this expanded focus since the announcement of AUKUS just over 12 months ago is itself an indication of the rate and pace of change to meet challenges as and when they arise. From another perspective, the potential for Australia's science, technology and defence industry ecosystem cannot be underestimated. The opportunities that are implicit in the AUKUS agreement will not only enhance the provisioning of our Defence Force with fit-for-purpose capability, but also will have an undoubted flow-on effect, stimulating a new generation, entirely new generation of research and technological innovation. These just aren't throwaway words. This is a new generation. This is exciting, but it's important that it is not only an opportunity, but that it becomes a reality, as the infrastructure and the organisational transformations which are required to best support such endeavours are considered, are identified and are implemented. Having said that, we cannot ignore the potential elephant in the room, or perhaps at the moment it's a sleeping giant, and that is the development of nuclear technologies more generally. That's not only an issue for defence, but it's a broader question as alternate sources of energy are debated around the world and as nuclear energy in particular has gone in and out of favour. But that's another debate. What can be said, however, is that any discussion of AUKUS in terms of advanced capabilities, technologies, innovation and research cannot be seen in isolation from other initiatives in defence planning. And in this regard, I note the release in August, perhaps timely, given the recent spate of domestic cyber attacks, of the Defence Cyber Security Strategy and the 2022 Defence Information and Communications Technology Strategy. Interestingly, that also looks at a 10-year time span, but it talks about what has to be implemented within 3 years, so even a tighter compression. Innovation within defence now extends beyond the traditional 4 domains of maritime, land, air and cyber up into space. Australia's Defence Space Strategy was released this year, along with the formation of the Tri-Service Defence Space Command in January, led by Air Vice Marshal Catherine Roberts. By bringing members of Navy, Army, Air Force and Australian Public Service together under an integrated headquarters reporting to the Chief of Air Force, we've witnessed the technological integration between defence, government and corporate spheres. Issues of national defence and security are neither abstract nor peripheral. They are of immediate and long-term consequence. As such, I commend RUSI, New South Wales, for providing, as it has so often over the last 134 years, a forum for informed debate on Australia's defence and national security, which has contributed significantly to improved public understanding and awareness. and I thank the Vice Patrons of all three services for the important insights that their updates will provide into activities over the last year within their spheres of responsibility, and certainly I look forward to hearing them shortly. Thank you also to the academics and the industry experts who will be speaking. Your considered and informed presentations will undoubtedly be illuminating and thought-provoking. And so with that, I thank you for listening, and it's my privilege as patron of the Royal United Services Institute for Defence and Strategic Studies, New South Wales, to declare this year's 2022 major seminar, AUKUS, 1 year on, formally open.
Your Excellency, on behalf of us all, thank you for that very thoughtful, wide-ranging and analytic presentation. And in my personal opinion, it sets a great setting for the presentations that we are about to have.